Hello there, welcome back. This is Sheepishly here once again, and today I've got a quick update on my character, which is the Penance Brand of Dissipation Elementalist. Now, this isn't a full build guide because I'm still working on this character at the moment. There's still quite a bit of upgrades that we can make to make the character a little bit stronger, but I think it's working really well as it is, which is why I'm sharing this with you guys now. Now, the idea of the build is very simple. We're combining a very strong single target ability, which is the Penance Brand of Dissipation, alongside some sort of clear or proliferation, which in this case it's explode. In this league, we have this new toy, which is the foulborn Berek Respite. Now, you do want the double foulborn version, which I know, yes, it's a little bit expensive, roughly 60 divines, but trust me, it is well worth the price. In fact, I consider this to be a very cheap source of explode. In fact, last league, people were playing this character with double mirror tier explode wands, a mirror tier explode chest, as well as an Oriath end, which is the explodey flask. So that is at least 4 different sources of explode, but this league, thanks to the foulborn Berek Respite, this is all you need to match those powers. And let me show you exactly why the double explode version is so broken. Okay, coming over here to just a random tier 16 beach map, I just threw a Blight Scarab on it. I want you to focus on the red dots of the Blight monsters as they move towards the pump. You can see that I am placing the Penance Brand on the pump, and look at how far it clears. Give it a second. Bam, there you go. You see that little frame lag there? That's my computer kind of dying whilst trying to calculate just how many monsters got exploded by that single chaining explosion. Look at that, it just happened again, right? Now, this is something that definitely won't survive to next league. GG has been nerfing every single source of self-chaining explosions, right? That's what this interaction is. With enough character power, this explosion will chain ad infinitum. If there's enough density in the map, actually, this explosion will actually just clear the whole map when you cast the single Penance Brand. That's how powerful it is. Now, for the final demonstration, let's let the monsters come towards the pump a little bit. You see I just dropped the Penance Brand on the pump itself, and bam, the entire lane explodes. Now let's just show you how far the explosion chains. You can see that we're staying to the left of Cass here, and if we go to the right a little bit, that is a full 2.5 screens. That's absolutely insane. Now, like I mentioned, this is a self-propagating chaining explosions, and something like this is a very rare toy we got to play around with in POE 1. So, better get on to it. 60 divines is not too much of a price to pay for one of the most fun items ever released by GGG. Now, for the single target damage, let's come over to this Uber Exarch showcase. Now, before we get into it, I just want to say that the build is still a bit of work in progress. Our single target damage can and will get better, but as you can see, it's already doing pretty well as it is. I might just let the clip play and speak for itself. Yeah, as you can see, we got it down to something around like 10%. I might post the video there. So I think we did get a little bit lucky with this one. I think he was stuck on some animations before he faced. But in POB, I'm doing something like 50-60 mil DPS, which is very respectable. Now, if you're just looking to do tier 16.5, tier 17 juice mapping content, 60 million DPS is more than enough for you to go through most of the rares and uniques that you come across. Obviously, don't take this build into a Voldo map that requires 200-300 mil DPS to feel comfortable with. General mapping, though, feels very solid. Now, to go through the gear and how I set up the character a little bit, I just want to make clear that this is not the herald stacking variant of the Penance Brand of Dissipation Elementalist. I know there is a build that's gaining traction at the moment from Manny and Tuna who's playing it. Now, there's nothing wrong with the herald stacking variant. I think it's a very cool concept. It's a very strong, obviously. So if that's something you're interested in, do check out Manny or Crouching Tuna streams, as well as their guides. They're both very, very good. For me though, I really want to go CI, I want to play with the foulborn Berek Respite. There simply wasn't enough space to fit in herald stacking as well. Now to quickly go through the gear, let's start from the wand. This is just a fractured cast speed wand with +2 and multi-mod, pretty straightforward. For the helmet, it's the standard Archdemon crown for Penance Brand of Dissipation. I got a bit unlucky crafting this one. I think I saw something like 10 minion lives before I hit the conk effect. I will likely be recrafting this a little bit later. For the amulet, we went with the budget option, which is a replica Dragon Fanes, with anointed as the mountains to help out with the block chance a little bit. Speaking of block, we're using Svalinn. Now Svalinn is the third most expensive item on this build, right after Mage Blood as well as the double foulborn Bereks, but it's such an easy way of fixing defenses, it's well worth the price. Now for the boots, I picked up this pair off trade for like 150 chaos. Gear like this is really cheap this league thanks to the Genesis tree, so I would definitely recommend checking trade before trying to craft something yourself. Same with the chest, I was able to pick this one up with all T1 prefixes already done for something like 3 divines, maybe 4, and I just did suffixes with Eldritch currency myself, pretty straightforward. Now for the gloves, I do want to spend a little bit more time on this one. It's quite an interesting story. If you look at this, this looks absolutely crazy. I have triple T1 energy shield prefixes, I have the temple mod, I have T2 dexterity, which solves all my dexterity problems, as well as an open suffix. Now, I actually pick up this one off trade with the suffixes done, as well as a fracture prefix for 10 divines, which isn't too cheap, but at the same time, it's not too expensive either, and I finished the prefixes up with Eldritch currency, which hit the hybrid, and on the second foulborn exalted orb, I was able to hit the T1 energy shield. Now, this pair of gloves looks absolutely insane, but you can probably do it for cheaper. In fact, if you search for just the temple mod, it's something like 30 chaos. So on average, it takes maybe at most 1 divine to transfer the temple mod onto a warlock base, and the rest of the craft is fairly self-explanatory. For the flasks, I have a Wand of the Prophet. This can be anything. You can use Rumi's Concoction if you can't cap your block, or you can use Oriath Ant if you want to complement the explosions from Foulborn Berek's Respite. And then I have the triple elemental flask setup plus a silver flask to move a little bit faster. For the gems, we have Penance Brand linked with Swift Brand, as well as increased critical damage. Arcane Surge, very surprisingly, gives the highest DPS. I think something like Awakened Lightning Pen, Inspiration, Power Charge on critical, they all work very, very well. For the chest, we have all the golems linked with a level 4 Enhance, just to boost up the golem effect a little bit. We also have Assassin's Mark linked with Enhance, just to give a little bit more consistent power charge generation. For the auras, we're running Enlightened linked with Disciplined, Wrath, and Hatred. The reason we chose Hatred and Wrath is because of this Watch Design here, which gives you crit chance when affected by Hatred, as well as fist damage as extra lightning when affected by Wrath. In the gloves, we have Frostblink of Wintry Blast linked with Spell Echo and faster casting. This is a very standard setup that allows us to navigate through the maps very, very quickly. I've also got this one linked with Power Charge on critical, but that's really not needed. In the wand, we have mostly utility with Frost Shield, Elemental Weakness, as well as a Frost Bomb in case of very juiced up rares in tier 17s. For the grafts, the best one is definitely Storming Ash Graft, that gives us added lightning damage as well as lucky hits. The downside with this one is that it's just another button you have to press when we're already self-casting 2 curses, and you have to move to the side a little bit to enjoy the Radiant Ground buff. And the second one can be anything. I chose another Ash Graft to get some lightning penetration. Now, in terms of the passive tree, we're making use of the Impossible Escape combo alongside with Elegant Hubris, but we're doing it using Paying Attunement rather than Mind Over Matter, because the left-hand side is more popular and therefore more expensive. This is a very cool interaction, and on the right hand side I am picking up 24% block chance, 80% increased spell damage, as well as frenzy charge generation on bosses. Now for the rest of the passive tree, I pretty much just pass around the top side, nothing too special here. We do pick up Chaos Inoculation, and that's supported by Ghost River as well as Zealot's Oath, so we can regen and leech Energy Shield. Now something I opted to do is spending 4 extra points to pick up 1 additional curse. This lets us make use of Elemental Weakness as a second curse, alongside this Balance of Terror, which gives us 40% physical damage as added elemental damage if we've manually casted Elemental Weakness in the last 10 seconds. Now this might seem very clunky with so many buttons, but if you look at the cast time, it's 0.18 seconds. We cast this very, very quickly, and you don't really need to press these buttons when mapping, unless you come across a very tanky rare. Well, that's it. That's the update for the Penance Brand of Dissipation Elementalist. Now, I don't have a POB configured just yet because I'm still working on the build. I will drop a link to my POE.ninja profile in case you want to see what I'm doing. Well, that's it. As always, please give me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed my content. And if you have any suggestions on how to make this build a little bit better, or any interesting tech you want me to test out, please leave a comment below and we'll brainstorm this one together. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.